is Cheryl, and this is Garnet Stitchery. Welcome back to my channel. Technically, this is the first real floss tube. I've already filmed a WIP parade, so if you haven't checked that out, feel free to do so after watching this video. I would like to say thank you so much for everybody who has left comments and subscribed based off of my last video. Sylvie says thank you also, my puppy dog. I know, she's got done eating, so she's like, hey mom, thanks so much for feeding me. Anyways, so I just want to say thank you so much again for everybody who has subscribed and said kind things about, you know, be glad that I'm back and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that a lot, and it's encouraging because I wasn't sure like if people would want to watch a video with just me. So I'm glad to know that there are people out there who do. So yay. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do that, and please share the videos because that helps me get more subscribers and things like that, and it'll help me make more of this content. So yeah, so I guess because in the last video is a WIP parade, and I did a small intro. All right, so who am I? My name is Cheryl, as I said before, and I am a quilter. I have my own long arm quilting business called Garnet Stitchery, just like my channel name. And I also make quilts for people who either can't or don't want to make quilts for themselves. So I have made custom quilts for them, and I have made quilts that based off of a kit, things like that. So I've also finished quilts for people. So like if they found that it wasn't their cup of tea, but they still want the quilt, then I will pick up where they left off and continue. I also do model stitching. So I've done a model stitch for Dirty Annie's Southern Style, and I will talk more about that when I get to my finishes. And I also do like custom commissions for friends and people I know. A lot of people. So I also do that as well as part of my business. But I would say I'm a quilter that cross stitches. I tend to quilt more, but I also go through seasons where like sometimes I'll be more in the quilt mind and I'll want to do quilting, and I will want to only piece, and I will sit here at my machine and I will just piece, right? And then other times I just want to sit at my stitchy spot and just cross stitch. And lately I have been wanting to just cross stitch. So I don't have a lot of quilt WIPs that I'm currently working on. And I'm trying to figure out how to get out of that funk because, yeah, I don't know. I just need to figure that out. But anyways, so I live in Idaho, and I am a mom of 3 boys, and I homeschool them, and we are part of baseball. And so actually the season's about to kick up, so we're about to be really busy. So but yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Yeah, so one of the things that I do for my own personal stitching, I used to do WIP Go, and this year I decided to not do WIP Go because I found that I wasn't really making the WIPs go away, you know, and which is the whole point of WIP Go, I think, for a lot of people, is to touch projects and stuff like that. But I don't really, I don't follow through with it. My goal was always really small, like touch it for 2 days kind of thing. And so like I wasn't getting a lot of progress, and I was finding that I wasn't enjoying being told that I have to stitch on something. So I decided to do something a little different this year. I'm kind of just stitching what I want when I want, kind of just focusing on the things that are calling to me at the moment. This jar right here, this Honeydukes jar, it has themes of all of my WIPs. So if you watch my WIP parade, all of my works in progress were put by theme. So in this jar, I have a bunch of little slips of paper that say, you know, patriotic or Christmas or Halloween or whatever. So when I'm ready to, if I'm stuck, like, and I can't, what do I want to work on? And I can't decide, then I'll pull a slip out of here, and then I'll go to my list of WIPS by theme, and then I will then pull from that. And that still gives me choice, but it gives me direction at the same time. So one of the things that I do to help me keep track of the things that I stitch on is I do use the Needleworks Enthusiast Book of Days by Needlework Press. And I've been using this since, I think, 2021. I don't know, I have them all, and they're all like on a bookshelf so that I can go back and look at what I started and all that business. And what I used to do is I used to have my WIP go like attached here with, you know, like paper clips, you know? And since I decided I wasn't doing WIP go, I came up with the plan with the jar and all that business. And this is what my January looked like. I normally decorate with stickers. I just haven't really had time to do that. So that's my February. But what I did decide to do with my Book of Days was I really wanted to add pages. I also spiral bound my book. I went to Staples and just had all of my pages the way I wanted them, and then I just had them do that. So I did add pages with my current quilt WIPs. So these are quilt projects that are works in progress. So some of them, quite a few of them, are tops that are finished that I need to literally just get on the long arm and quilt them. I'm either waiting to get the backing or something like that. It's also been really cold, and where my quilt machine is, it's really cold in there, so I have to run an extra heater to keep it tolerable. So I haven't really been spending a lot of time out there. I know once we have our thaw a little bit, I'm gonna want to be out there more. So I do have a page with quilt WIPs. I do also have going to cross stitch, I have my works in progress by theme. So I also added extra lines. Sometimes the WIP will fall into two categories. So it might be something that is in pop culture and books, but it's also, like, let's say it was, I don't know, I'm trying to think what is both. Oh, okay, so like Sleepy Hollow by Cricket Collection. That one is a literary, like, it's a book, right? The Sleepy Hollow by Irving. So that one also fits in Halloween. So it's in both places in my theme. Hope that makes sense. So, and because I have pop culture books, winter, Christmas, autumn, Halloween, summer, patriotic, mirabilia, friendship. So what that means is, like, if it's a Sal, or if it's something I started with my fellowship friends, or if it's something that reminds me of friendship, or if it reminds me of something like that, you know what I mean? Then I put it into this category. And then I also have a category for Flosstube enabled. Because, okay, how many of you have clicked pause while watching a video and you go right over to your favorite LNS or online needlework shop, whatever, and you buy the thing that you see on the TV? How many of you can say that you haven't done that? I think that's a more appropriate question, because I'm pretty sure if you watch Flosstube and you cross stitch, you have done that. I'm going to say that you probably have done that. Whatever. I know I do that. So I have all these WIPs that were enabled by Flosstube and the amazing content that we all get to enjoy in our needlework community. And then the last theme I have is everyday. So like if it's a theme that, if it's a project that could fit kind of everywhere, even though it leans one way or another, it kind of is fitting in here, which is why it's the longest theme, because there's a lot of things that can be out all the time and they might not necessarily read as winter, or they might be just pretty, but they have like a wintry feel. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I have it there. I also keep out Mirabilias all the time. So if I have a Mirabilia finish, it stays out all the time because I think that that's a lot of work and I don't want it to just go in a closet for, you know, 11 months of the year if it's just like a Christmas stitch, you know what I mean? One more theme I have is sparkles and silks. So anything that uses beads, treasures, silks, a combination of those. So like Mill Hill kits, Mirabilias, Chatelaine. I mean, even like the Satsuma Street like kits that have the cute sequins and beads, like that fits into these themes. So I hope that makes sense. The next page that I have, this gets added to all the time because I like to buy cross stitch. This is kitted cross stitch. So these are all the projects that I have that are kitted, meaning I could literally pick it up and start stitching it. Some of them, they need like a fabric, or I need the DMC. So like some of the Mirabilias, I have, you know, the silks and the embellishment packs and the fabric, but I don't have the DMC for it. So I would just need to go run to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever and just purchase the said DMC. So like I kind of made notations of what I needed for those, so that I knew what to add. You'll notice I did put letters next to it. I made a spin the wheel thing and I have 4 different wheels and these are broken down and put onto said wheels. Now some of these kits are things that I have no intention of starting within the next year. I have zero intention of starting it. They're not calling to me at all, or there are other things that I would rather stitch and start rather than these things. Even though I have them, I don't want to get rid of them because I know once I do that, then I'm really going to want it, because isn't that how that works? Anyway, so I have them all on wheels. And so when I'm ready to start something new and there isn't, and I'm like having that itch to start things, we're all having that happen right now because of market, right? So like we all want to start things right now, right? We're like starting, we want to start all the stitching. I have all these things. It keeps me focused on what is, like what I already have in my stash that I could start. And I bought it for a reason. It's because I loved it, right? We all have that. So, and I think I am a firm believer that cross stitching and quilting have 2 like forks in the road with the hobby. You have the actual act of the stitching, and then you have the collecting of the stuff. And those are 2 separate things that fall under that umbrella, right? I mean, that's how it works for me. I also have kitted quilt projects because, yeah, I have a lot more cross stitch kitted things, but I think that's because quilted or quilt kits cost a lot more up front. You know, like if you don't continually just buy fabric for stash, then that could end up being like a problem. But like, anyway, so I also have a master list of all of my cross stitch WIPS, just as I pulled them out of my buckets and I wrote them down. I just have a master list, and that's as of December 2024. And I know this is not correct because I need to add all of my New Year's Eve 12 by 12. I also added a page specifically for finishes for 2025. some of the recent finishes that I will be showing you soon, some of them I didn't finish. I finished late last year, but they were FFO'd this year. And I also have a 2025 quilt finishes page. And then I also use a page for my New Year's Eve 12 by 12. So I can remember everything that I started or worked on for that event, because that's fun. And why not keep track, right? So going back to the part where I talk about my kitted, my kitted projects. I tend to squirrel. I know that a lot of people have the same problem as I do. And I also find that I like to, I get distracted by the new shinies. Right now, we are all in market mode, right? We are all looking at the new things, the new releases, all the beautiful stuff that's coming out that the designers are putting in front of us and being like, hi, look at these beautiful things. Don't you want to stitch them? Like, we all get caught up in that. I mean, a lot of us do, I would say, especially if you are not a monogamous stitcher. Or you don't, or you tend to just buy one project at a time. I do know a few people like that. So, but a lot of us tend to want to, you know, we're part of the buzz, right? Like, we're all excited about all the new things because it's exciting and fun. And it's something that's celebrating our whole industry of being in the cross stitch realm. And I just think that for us, it's, well, at least for me, it's really exciting time because all of these designers are, it's almost like all of their genius is all happening at one time. And I think that that's just so cool. So anyway, that creates a problem for me though, because then I want to start all the new things. And then I have all these kitted cross stitch projects, many, that I am not starting. So they just sit in my stash and I don't start them. That's sad because I obviously bought them because I like them and I kitted them because I had the intention of starting them. And so I decided last year, so in 2023, the end of 2023, I decided that for 2024, I was going to have a box of swag. What is a box of swag, you say? A box of swag is a box that you put all of your purchases in, and then you cannot touch them until the next calendar year. So what does that mean? That means anything that I purchased in 2024, even some gifts that I got. Also, if you hear any like chewing sounds, it's my dog, just so you know. If you, basically what I did was anything that I got that was a gift mostly, and anything that I purchased from like market or at a retreat or whatever, it went in this box and it sat there and accumulated all year. And I'm going to insert a picture. And please be kind and no judgment, okay? But like last year's box was very full. It also included fabric for projects that I purchased specifically for said pattern so that it wouldn't get lost in my stash and accidentally get used for something else. So all that to say, I decided to implement the box of swag for 2025. And the reason why I decided to do that is because it worked for me. What I ended up doing was I ended up having more finishes last year, which I don't even know how many I had because I didn't keep track very well. I kept track that I finished them in my book of days, but I didn't have like a list, you know what I mean? So I know that I finished more things last year than I finished in previous years alone. And I also worked on more WIPS last year and got more progress on them than if I had not implemented the box of swag. The other thing it did was it made me really question, like, do I really want this stitch because I like it, because I want to stitch it, or is it because it's new and shiny and we all get excited about the new shiny thing? Well, it was a combination of both. because I knew that it would be unrealistic to do like a stitch diet or whatever you call it, or stitch freeze, spending freeze. That would just be unrealistic for me, because then it would make me want to buy things more, and then I wouldn't want to stitch on anything. So knowing myself, I decided to allow myself to purchase things, be more selective about how I purchase them, and then put it in the box of swag. So this year, which is crazy, I only have 2 things in here. One of them was a gift. So I bought this exclusive, is Sweet Wing Studio, from the Farmer's Attic. They have a website and an Etsy. I'll put a link below. And then my husband got me this super cute RTO kit, which is actually like a companion piece to one that I got from my sister for Christmas. So look at the goose. I mean, it's so cute. So as of now, in my box of swag, I have 2 kits. I have 2. That's it. Now, when I talk about market, in an upcoming video, I'll kind of share a little bit about what I've purchased so far. Because, yeah, I've done that. But, so that's a little bit about how I stitch, how I control my stitching, how I choose projects, what I'm doing, and everything changes, you know, it's fluid. I try new things all the time. But for this year, that's what I'm doing. I'm implementing the box of swag again, and because it really did help me like be more selective with what I was going to start or stitch or purchase in that year, you know, because if I wasn't willing to hold on to it for an entire year, then why buy it? You know, like I had that thought, like, if I don't love it enough to purchase it and hold it, do I actually love it enough to purchase it in the first place? Or is it just because it's new and exciting, you know? So I was trying to like put a damper on my spending. But as you saw from the photo, that is not what happened. So yeah, but I need to keep this posted. Yeah, so now the next thing we're going to talk about is recent finishes. So I mentioned previously before that I have model stitched for designer Dirty Annie Southern Style. And one of the things that I model stitched for her is called Proverbs 31:13. And I will insert a picture here of what it is. If you follow me on Instagram, I have shared where you can pre-order this pattern. Of course, if the designer is going, or excuse me, if the shop is going to market, they have immediate access to this pattern. But it was a joy to stitch. I mean, it has everything that you could possibly want. It has sheeps. It has grass that's like not just green. It has like these beautiful like quilt designs in them, and the colors were great, and it was really fun to stitch, and I really enjoyed it. And I was so grateful that Annie asked me if I wanted to model stitch for her. It took a little bit longer than I thought that it would take, but that was also because I had model stitched something for a retreat for her that had to be, you know, it had a higher priority level, you know what I mean? So I had to kind of stop doing Proverbs 31:13 and do the other one. So so that is Proverbs 31:13. The next one that I have that's a finish, I shared briefly in my WIP parade, but I will also insert a photograph here. It is called Next Door by Heartstring Samplery. And this was a fun stitch that I did for my sister. I started it as a New Year's Eve 12 by 12. So this is the cover photo. And the colors are so vibrant. I stitched mine on a 32 count linen. It was a mystery linen that I got from a Friday night fight night with Be Stitch Me. So it didn't have a name, so I'm not sure what the actual name was, but it was a beautiful linen. these are the colors. And I'll insert some more pictures that I took before I framed the piece. I just did a regular off the rack type frame. And then I added batting. And then I just slapped it in a frame. Like, what did I do? I think I laced it. I'm pretty sure I laced it because I needed it to not have fabric flapping around because it was a gift. If it was for me, you never know. But if it was for me, I probably would have finished it differently and I probably wouldn't have stitched it for myself because that's weird. But the sentiment is, I wish you lived next door, which, you know, I do wish my sister lived next door. That would be really cool. So that was my other finish that I did finish in January. I also finished, let's see. So I don't have the pattern with me, but it's the January Wordplay by With a Needle and Thread. This is stitched on 36 count platinum by Weeks Dye Works. And the threads are the called for Gentle Art threads. I don't think I made any substitutions. I think I stitched as called for, pretty sure. That's, and then I have it, we're in February, so this is the February one. And I just have it on this board. And I finished this one a long time ago. This one is stitched on a Monaco, 28 count Monaco, with called for threads. The fabric I coffee tea dyed myself. So that's what's currently out. And that's the finish for that one. But for the January one, I wanted it to be more simple. And I had this ribbon that I just sort of folded and glued as I went. So it's not perfectly straight. I wasn't trying to achieve anything perfect here. But I think I laced this one and I had batting. And then the buttons were from my grandma's button collection that I inherited. So I thought they were pretty and they went well on this stitch. So that is my next finish for January. I think, did I finish? No, I finished the January one in December, right? I don't remember. That's why I have the list of things that I finished. You know what I mean? Okay, so the next one I have is the, I'm dropping everything. It's Out of the Sweet Land of Liberty by Blackbird Designs. And I know I showed this in the last video, but in case you haven't watched that yet, and I wanted to give a little more detail. So this is the stitch. It's so pretty. This whole book is awesome and it has great projects in it. This is my stitch. So I am using 36 count Confederate Gray by Weeks Dye Works. And this was kitted up, this specific project was given to me, this book and the DMCs for this project were given to me as a gift from a friend. And I started it just with the DMCs. And then I realized that I wanted some variegation in some places that made sense, you know, because when we're stitching, sometimes like the variegated thread, it doesn't show up. So it's like, why am I using this expensive thread for no reason, you know? So that's where my brain was when I started it. But I decided that I was going to add some colors. I do know that this color here is Dolphin by Weeks Dye Works. No, Pewter. It's Pewter by Weeks Dye Works, which is why it looks more variegated gray than the photo. I also added a few other colors in that I ended up not, did I use them at all? Oh yeah, I did. So like the Portobello color by Gentle Art, that's what's in the eagle wings. And I really wanted that variegation because it's a chunk of color, you know? So I went ahead and used that color. I also swapped out the color that's in America here. And I had to be fiddly with my year because it felt like it wasn't going to fit very well, because originally it had a 1 and a 5, which in that space fits better, but now I had to put a 2 and a 5, and so the 2 made it kind of swished. I don't know. So I just made it work. So that is my my American Eagle stitch, and I love it. I can't wait to get this framed and have it up here along with this one here by Blackbird Designs. So this one will be one that stays out all the time because I love it so much. And it was a friend gave it to me, and I don't know. I think because I stitch and I make, I understand the work that goes into things like that, and the care to have someone even want to give you something like that, like that means a lot to me. So I like to have that kind of stuff out all the time. So that is my last recent finish, and I finished this in January. And I'm working on a finish for February. We'll see. So now we're going to talk about WIPS. I don't have a tremendous amount of WIPS. I only have technically 4 WIPS that I've worked on in February. Sorry. One of them is a customer commission. I don't have a cover photo because she literally had a magazine that she took a copy of the stitch and mailed it to me and said, can you make this kind of thing? Because she didn't want to mail the entire magazine to me, which I understand. I know based off of the pattern itself, like the chart, it was charted by hand. So it's a hand charted, it's very old. She said she's had it for a very long time and has wanted to make it for her husband since as long as they've been married. And they've been married a long time. And so she's like, I need to get this done, but I can't see and cross stitch like you can. So can you make this for me? And I'm like, absolutely, let's do it. So that is one of them. Once it gets done and you can actually see the whole picture, I'll show it because I know she won't care if I share it with everybody. But that one is called Duck Hunter. And so it's a sentiment about duck hunting. So that one is one of the main WIPs that I worked on. The next one that I worked on is, it was a gift. It's a gift for my niece, so I don't think she watches Flosstube. It is called Virgo by Nora Corbett. It is part of her her Zodiac Girls series. And so I've been working on that because I really need to get it done because it's for my niece's graduation. Oh, there it is. I'm trying to find my little board here. And so I need to get it done because I got to get it framed, right? So I've been working on this. So that's how far I am. So, okay. Do you guys, are you guys familiar with the Hunger Games? Like the books and the movies? So there's a character named Effie Trinket who becomes Katniss's mentor. Is this not, just looking at this, just this part, is that not Effie Trinket? I think I might have to restitch this, but make her be in her monarch outfit from, I think it's from it's from Catching Fire. I think I need to restitch this and like do my own color conversion because this has a bunch of butterflies all over it. Wouldn't it be rad if I like color converted it and made it be Effie Trinket, but like keep off the Virgo part and just make it be her. Wouldn't that be rad? I think I should. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how to convert Mirabilias very well, so it might not happen. But yeah, so that's how far I am. I am stitching this on a, what am I doing? A 32 count even weave Murano by Zweigart, and I over dyed it. It's totally blowing out in this color, in this lighting. But there's soft, pale pinks and greens and purples that I very lightly washed over. So that's what I have so far. Yeah, I need to turn and burn on this one because it needs to get finished. And I have this one in a Bella Rose Needleworks quilted bag. I needed something pink, so I'm like, yo, Jeanette, do you have anything with pink on it? She's like, yeah, sort of. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So, and I love quilted bags like this. They're super pretty. All right, so that's Virgo. The next one I am working on is, I mentioned the word plays before. This is the March wordplay by, sorry, the glare, by With a Needle and Thread. And I am stitching this, let me get the info, because even though I just started it, so it's like, I don't remember. I don't remember. Okay, so I started it New Year's Eve 12 by 12. And I'm stitching it on 36 count linen in the color Heartland by Picture This Plus. And I think I showed this. Yeah, I showed, because it's a WIP, duh. I showed it in my WIP parade. And since I showed it in that video, I completed basically all of this business. And so I'm trying to like do over here first before I have to move my Q-snap. I might have to just load it into a bigger Q-snap and add fabric so I don't have to keep moving the Q-snap, you know? So, but yeah, this is what I have so far for March wordplay. The time's ticking. This month is shorter. I need to get rolling on this bad boy. That's the better color. Yeah. And I'm using called for colors. However, when I ordered the threads from 123 Stitch, they were out of a few of the colors. They were out of Parchment by General Art, and that's the color of the house, which is like a grayer color. I don't know. So I am just using the colors I have on the floss ring and just putting them where is a similar color, you know what I mean? So these are the colors for March. And I'm really looking forward to getting this one finished because I want it out all March. And then I also have in here the April, which has significantly more threads. Why? I don't know, but there are more threads. Some of them are repeat from this chart, so I should be able to pull some of the floss from this chart. And then, and I have some more of this Heartland that I might be able to use. I might choose a different color. It just depends on, you know, just depends, right? Floss toss and all that business, right? So that is March wordplay. And the last thing that I have is from Forbidden Fiber Co. So this is from their Stitchless in Seattle little mini box thing that they did for Valentine's Day. And I love that movie. I also love You've Got Mail. You just can't pay attention to the actual storyline. Because then you're like, this is problematic. But it's fine. It's all good fun, right? So this is the pattern. It's called Like Magic. And it says, I knew it the very first time I touched her. It was like coming home, only to no home I've ever known. I was just taking her hand to help her out of a car, and I knew it. It was like magic. And that's what Tom Hanks's character says on the phone when he's describing his dead wife. And that's what makes Meg Ryan's character like basically fall in love with him over like listening to him on the radio, because, you know, it's that old that people listen to people on the radio. I guess it's like the old version of a podcast. You know what I mean? This one is stitched on a Forbidden Fiber Co. 36 count spearmint. But it came with this cute project bag. I opted for the large project bag. And it came with some cookies that were tiramisu flavor. And if you watch the movie, you know what that is. It's kind of funny. Leanne's really good at putting boxes together. Their whole team is amazing. So these are all the flosses that are in it. I like using Forbidden Fiber Co. floss. So I stopped stitching this literally partway through my stitching because I had to stop, and then I wasn't able to pick it back up. So this is where I got to. So I'm in the top corner. Sorry, I just had a delivery. As I was saying, this is one of her Valentine things that she did, I think last year or 2024. It was The Princess Bride, pretty sure. But it came with cookies. It came with this cute Post-it note and this pen, which writes well. I've already used it. And these super cute thumbtacks, you know, to put on a map. And they're stars. They're so cute. I really like Forbidden Fiber Co. Boxes, kits, whatever. And if you like doing, you know, yarn crafts like crochet or knitting, she usually has them themed for both. So she has cross stitch and for yarn, which is kind of cool. So, sorry for the rogue floss. But I'm in the top corner, which is the Chicago. Let me get the pattern back out. So it's the Chicago little stamp. It came with this needle minder as well. This fabric color is lovely. I don't know if this is part of her regular lineup of colors, but if it is, I might get more. It kind of reminds me of Winter Mint by Atomic Ranch. All of a sudden it's sunny out, so sorry if it gets weird lighting in here. So that is like magic. I started that on the 13th of February. And this is just one sitting that I stitched on it. That's how far I got in an evening. Not too bad. I love this. This is so cute. I love the little airplane, like dot, 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 you know? Super cute. I also have this cute, like, little bling. I love it. Okay, so those are the WIPs I've worked on so far this month. Yes, those are all my WIPs. So now I'm going to pause and grab the stuff for my haul, the haul things that I purchased recently, and my stuff for my plans, because that's fun stuff. So just one sec. Okay, so for my haul, my most recent purchases have been pre-orders for Market, and like I said before, I will do another video next weekend probably, where I talk about my favorite Market picks. Mostly because then by then all the stuff should be released and out there, and then I can make my favorite list accurately. Because there's always that one chart that sneaks in at the end and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I must have. So I will be doing another video talking about that probably next week. Since I don't get to go to Market this year, I thought I could still have a fun video about Market, because Market time is super fun. Okay, So remember how I talked about the box of swag, right? Last year, market time, these two collab charts, I guess it goes like this, by Plum Street Samplers and Kitten Stitcher or Shakespeare's Peddler, they're the same. Anyway, designer name is Shakespeare's Peddler. It's called Stars and Stripes. And I knew that this was originally like, it was like an exclusive that had been released the previous summer. And I know that because Jeanette bought it. And I was like, I know it'll be released eventually and I can just get it then. And I was right. And I have plans for this chart for next year. So I'm starting to kit it up now. And one of the things I realized was that I never actually bought the called for linen, which it calls for 40 count. And I don't really stitch on 40 count. I have one project on 40 count and I don't ever work on it. 36 count is my sweet spot. I really like 36 count. I really like, if I'm using Ada, I like using 18 count or 20 count. I don't use even weave very often unless it is a 32 count and I'm doing a Mirabilia. And even then, that's pretty few and far between. So I tend to stitch on linen or Ada. Those are my two go-to linen or go-to fabrics, you could say. All that to say, I am starting to kit these up because, like, who doesn't want them in a LaHaze bowl? Like, we could get like an oval LaHaze. Yeah. Or I could find a Longaberger basket. Or, who's that? Is it 1803 Farm Basket? That chick on Instagram. I could buy one of her long, shallow ones. Light bulb. I like when that happens. That's fun. So anyways, the first thing that I figured I could start with is the fabric. My sister gave me a gift card, a gift certificate to Kitten Stitcher for Christmas. So I decided to buy some linen from her fabric. And this is 36 count. Trying to find my board again. Sorry. It's 36 count graham cracker by Wabi Sabi, or it's graham cracker fabrics. So she has graham cracker fabrics and Wabi Sabi linens. I'm fairly certain, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that they are both ran by her kids, her sons. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I just know that she does a lot of designing on them, and that's one designer that she's going to be at market, right? Have we seen her stuff yet? I'm going to have to check that. Ooh, I wonder what she's going to release. Oh. Anyway, I digress. So I got the linen. I got a fat quarter of this loveliness. This looks like a tea, coffee thrown in an oven situation. That's what that looks like to me. And I am here for it. I like that, me personally. So, and I don't mind this. That I'm cool with that. So I have it folded up here as it came from Kitten Stitcher. How is it folded? I don't know. There we go. I should probably refold the linen though so it doesn't get hard creases. And I have it in a baggie with the charts so that I remember that I have it, so that when I'm ready to start it, I need to get the flosses for it. And a project bag, of course. Here's looking at you, Jeanette. Just kidding. I'm one of her best customers. I'm always buying her bags. Okay, so that's the first thing I bought. While I was ordering from Kitten Stitcher, I got some needles, and There was something else I got too. I can't remember right now. And right now I keep my kits, if it's a kitted project, I keep it in a Ziploc baggie in a tote to keep everything kind of organized. And then I have a different place I store my patriotic kits because I have so many and so many like patterns that are patriotic, that they go in a different spot because I have so many of them that I need to keep track of everything I have that's patriotic so I don't accidentally buy things. So I've had this in my stash for a long time. It's With Thy Needle and Thread. It's called Souvenirs of the Heart Star Spangled Spectacular. Now, this stitch is It is 69 by 88. However, you stitch it with one strand of floss over one linen thread. So it's 1 over 1. So if you look closely at the stitches, you can tell that it's over 1. And I've always wanted to stitch it on that. I don't have a lot of 28 count in my stash. Specifically, that is an even weave because I wanted the even weave that the Lugana. So she calls for a 28 count mushroom Lugana using, what kind of threads is this? What does she use? Of course. So it's everything. So it's Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Art, and Classic Colorworks. I don't know if I will do that or not because you're stitching with one strand. I don't know how much of that variegation is going to show up. I might on the house and a few other places, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when I go to kit it. So I got the fabric, the mushroom Lugana, and I got a fat quarter just to have it so I could start this. Because again, there's a plan for this, and I have patriotic stitching already on the brain, which is really early for me. I normally want to stitch something springtime. The next thing I bought is the DMC threads minus like 2 colors for an upcoming Black Needle Society retreat in a box for Downton Abbey. I mentioned in my WIP parade that I love Downton Abbey. And so when Black Needle Society decided to do a retreat in a box, doing that, I was very excited. They did share with us what the retreat piece is going to be ahead of time, which they usually do after the pre-orders are done and they've stitched on it more. It's going to be in a Rhode Island style sampler, but it's going to be very specific Downton Abbey themed. And so I still need to get the fabric for that. I might stitch mine on blue. I haven't fully decided what I'm doing yet. And then there's Classic Colorworks that I need to purchase for that. So that's what these are for. I also picked up the spring issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine at my local grocery store, and I picked it up specifically because Sprouting Lupine has a, what does she call it? It's like it's called Nature's Journey. So it's like a series it's like a mystery that is a seasonal mystery, even though they kind of show you what it is. So this is the spring area of the design. And then in the next one will be summer and then fall and winter, of course. But in the spring issue of Just Cross Stitch, I think it's called spring. Yeah, spring 2025 issue. It had this portion. And I can't remember who I saw online that was stitching this on Instagram. And they had stitched this flower. I think Helen D is also doing this as like a stitch along, or she's doing the stitch along with someone else. I can't remember. But that's how I got, like, I learned about it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool, you know. And then I went on to, I think it was on her Instagram, on the Sprouting Lupine's Instagram, that they made a post about it that they were going to be in Just Cross Stitch magazine. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I made sure to pick this up because I knew like this part has already been shared online. So I knew, you know what it's going to look like. So that's nice because I like mysteries, but I like mysteries where they still tell you things so that you're not like stitching along and then you end up hating the design in the end. That's the worst, is like sometimes those can be like that, and it kind of, you don't want to finish it because you're not interested in the rest of what has been released if you're not staying on top of the stitching. I hope that makes sense. And the last thing I bought was Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher. She had a bag sale, and unfortunately this bag is sold out. I don't know if she's planning to make more or not, but I bought this bag from her, and then this is the inside fabric. Super pretty. This is great for like a smaller cross stitch pattern that is on like an 8x8 Q-snap. 11x11s won't fit in it, but that's okay. Like, I still love her bags. They're still good quality. She always has charms on them. She always has a moth charm. I don't know if you can see that. So, and this one had a pretty flower. So I saw this and I was like, yeah, I think I need that. Thanks. So that is my last purchase so far for this year. Okay, so now we're going to talk about plans. Now, I use the word plans loosely because sometimes I say I'm going to do stuff and then I end up not doing it for, you know, life happens or whatever. But I've been kind of mulling over these projects to start, and I've been thinking like, what do I want to start, because everything that was in the box of swag from last year is now free to start, right? And the two things I have on my list are things from last market. The first thing, before I talk about the cross stitch things, I do plan to work on making a quilt using this fabric. It's very bright and colorful. It is the Kaffe Fassett and William Morris Co. You can probably see this traditional colors of William Morris Co. on like Ruggable. If you go on there right now, he's on, like, his designs are on there. I have other William Morris, and it is definitely not this bright color. Kaffe Fassett, that quilt designer, is known for bright colors like this. This is going to be the background fabric. This is going to be the blocks. And the quilt I am making is called Moda Love. And Moda Love, it was a free pattern by Moda, the manufacturer for fabric. And it uses a layer cake, which is a 10-inch square. So I plan to start that soon. I just finished starching my background fabric. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to starch the squares or not. I have to read the pattern again to see how much fabric I need for those. So I might not do that, but we'll see. Anyways, okay, so that's the quilt project that I plan to work on soon. I plan to start it soon. Now for cross stitch plans, sorry, like I said, I have kit stuff in baggies. So last market, sorry for the opening of bags. Last market, the New York Dreamer released Jesus the True Vine. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, that is a must buy. It was in my top 5 or maybe top 3 for market picks last year. It was the first thing I pre-ordered. As soon as I saw it, it was in the cart and paid for. Like, I had it there ready to go. Now, granted, I didn't pay for it right then because I was the one who went to purchase everything at market last year because I worked at a shop. But you get my point. Like, I had it there. I knew I was going to buy it. It was like an immediate must have it. And I actually told her that because it's rare that you see patterns that you have an emotional response to. Like, at least for me, like I usually am like, oh my gosh, they're so pretty, or oh, I love them. I love all the colors together, whatever. But then like when I saw this one, I had an emotional and physical reaction where I started to, I got all warm and I felt like I had tingles and I was like, wow, that's really pretty. And I really want to stitch it. And I will tell you, it took everything in me to not start it last year because it had to go in the box of swag. Well, this is one of the things I'm planning to start. So if you didn't know about this pattern, it is by New York Dreamer. Your local needlework shop should be able to get it for you. And it's lovely. It uses a combination of Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Art, DMC, Classic Colorworks. It's mostly DMC and Weeks Dye Works. There's like one Classic Colorworks and one Gentle Art, and then the rest of them are DMC and Weeks Dye Works. So it calls for, now this picture is super blown out. I'm going to just tell you that right now. When I saw it in person, I told the designer, her name's Ezia. When I told her how much I love this, she gave me this pattern. She gifted me this pattern at market. She just handed it to me and said, I want you to have this. That was so kind. She did not have to do that. So I ended up giving the one that I had pre-ordered for myself. I gave that away, I'm pretty sure, in a giveaway. But I digress. My plan, I pulled from Stash to see what I had. I have some 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, which is what this is stitched on. This is the called for fabric. Obviously, it's a blown out photo. So the colors are going to be much more rich and inviting. I do not have all the colors. I need to place an order or go get the DMC elsewhere. But I checked my stash first because I was like, okay, I should have some of these colors, right? I mean, how long have I been stitching? Well, one of the colors is 502 DMC, and I had like 503, not 502. Then it was one of those situations. This one's I actually had 502, but I only have this much, which then I got to looking at the pattern, like, do I need to buy more? But it's just in the bird. So I'm not too worried about that situation. So I have, these are the flosses I have. And these are the colors that are mostly in the vine for the flower. And I have the urn color, the black urn color, and then the color for the words is Grapevine by Weeks Dye Works, which has really good variegation and it'll be really pretty when it's stitched up. So that's what I have. And I know that there have been a few people who have started this stitch last year. My plan is to start it for Lent, and that is next Wednesday, right? Let me see. Yeah, it's next Wednesday. So good. Ash Wednesday is next Wednesday. So I got to decide what I'm doing, which one I'm doing by next Wednesday. Plan is to use this bag for whatever my start is. The next one that I was thinking about starting, let me put all this back in the bag so things don't get lost, because that would be my luck. You know what I mean? The dog would come along and eat my floss. Let me stick this back in the baggie. Okay. The other one that I bought at market last year, Jeanette and I both bought this one, was Shepherd's Box by Jeanette Douglas. Okay. So I also bought the wool felt package for the Shepherd's Box and the silk, and then there's also like a little sheep charm in here as well. So it has a little waxer. It has the stuff to basically finish as everything falls again. It's to finish everything. So you see they turn into pillows. So you have all that wool to finish things and have it be like a fully finished, fun little thing that you have out, and it's cute. Now, you'll see that it's in a box, right? Well, that box is by Cabrin Mary Woods. And my friend Megan got this for me for my birthday last year. And I think, didn't we give it to each other? I don't remember. But I know she gave this to me for Christmas, or for my birthday last year. So I have everything to stitch shepherd's box. The fabric that I was trying to figure out the fabric of what I was going to use. And originally I was thinking about using this Atomic Ranch. It's called Dune by Atomic Ranch. But then it occurred to me when I was walking the 2 projects I was going to decide what I was going to work on. And this fabric was with the Jesus the True Vine. And then I was looking at this and I'm like, I think I need to make a change because it's the correct count. It's a 32 count hot cocoa linen by Stitch Me. I bought this from Bella Rose Needleworks. Now, this is probably going to look terrible on the screen, so I apologize in advance. Trying to get my board to make it somewhat flat. Yeah, it's blowing out kind of bad, so I'm sorry. But it's a beautiful, like, pinky, brownie, very mottled linen. And I bought this just to buy it. And then I was kidding up Jesus the True Vine, and I was like, well, I'll use that fabric because I think it'll look pretty with that. Well, then I totally just changed my mind last night, and I was like, no, this must be for this pattern. Because it calls for Wren by Picture This Plus, which is like very mottled and browny and like, you know what I mean? So I thought, and then I did the floss toss because I have the floss. So I thought, because there's 4 things for the 4 of these, right? 4 compartments, whatever you would call it. I thought I could break it down by week. And like my plan was to work on these for 30 minutes a day for the entirety of Lent. So for 40 days long, I would be working on a chart, either Jesus the True Vine or this one. I cannot decide what to do because if you look at it, it's the Good Shepherd, right? Which, you know, Jesus, you know. So I was trying to decide what to do. Yeah, but I want to start both of them, and I've been kind of thinking in my mind, which one do I want to begin? And those 2 keep popping up in my mind. If I had another project bag that was available, I would start both of them because I have no self-control, but I don't know. We'll see. So then I'll finish them and put it and display it in the box. Now I chose the cherry. There's two colors. There's like a walnut one, which is what's pictured. And then there's the cherry, and I chose the cherry color because I liked it better. None of my stuff matches in my house, so it didn't have to match a color of wood in my house, you know what I mean? So anyways, then because I decided to not use this for the shepherd's box, I also have Garden Box, which was a Black Needle Society box, like from 2 years ago. And I have the wool felt package for it, so I can swap it out because they're all seasonal. She has like Christmas ones, and she has a Stitcher one. There's so many, and I've been sleeping on those. I didn't even know they existed until last market, and I was like, what? I need all of them. And there's even, from what I understand, Cabin Mary Woods, who makes the box, they have this like turnstile drawer thing that you can slide these in and out. And then the one for the season, you can rest on top, and that could be the display. And so wouldn't it be super fantastic if I stitched all of them and got boxes for all of them, and then got the little turnstile thing for all of them, and then they just stayed out all, and they were a pretty display to have. Would that be fun? I don't know if that'll happen, but you know, it's always fun to dream, right? So those are my, the quilt is for sure going to be a plan that's going to be started within the next little while. And then now I got to decide what stitch to start. If you have a favorite between Jesus the True Vine and Shepherd's Box, which one would you start? Leave a comment below, because they're both really pretty and I love them both. This one has a lot of specialty stitches, which I'm excited to try, because some of them I have never done before. There's like a herringbone stitch or something in this one. So, super pretty. Like, look at that. And then of course I'd probably get some pins. The pin minis. These are probably Jabco. Eventually, once they're finished. So anyway, let me know which one your favorite is. And probably in about a week, I will probably be coming back on here to share what my favorites are for market and which ones I think are going to be the bigger sellers. Because sometimes you can tell what's going to be the big seller. And then you have the other ones that you're like, that chart is going to be one of those ones that it's going to fly out of the gate. Like, no one's going to know that is going to be the one that everyone's going to want. So I'm going to be really curious to see what that one is. I'm waiting for the final releases. I know that New York Dreamer just did her full reveals today. I know that I'm thinking there's like there's still 2 or 3 that still haven't made a release yet. So I'm really curious. Paula already did from Plum Street Samplers. Obviously, I'm going to need all of those. So Brenda Gervais as well. Yeah, I already pre-ordered some of that. So anyway, so I'll share some of my pre-orders with you guys next week, and what my favorites are, and what I think are going to be the fun sellers. And yeah, but if there's any questions you guys have about anything that I talked about in this video, just leave a comment below and I'll try and answer them. And I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you had fun here. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and tell your friends. And because, you know, this is where the party people come. This is party. It's party. And I will see you guys soon. All right. Bye.